Hey, hi and welcome back. Now in this video, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the controller that we are using. Okay. So in this video, I will walk you through the datasheet of Atmega 328 microcontroller and we will see the different sections which are present in the datasheet. Okay. So basically the purpose of this video is to show you the different sections which are there in the datasheet, and in order to make you comfortable, I'm just going to walk you through the datasheet of Atmega 328 microcontroller. Alright. So that's how basically I'm going to give you the overview of the Atmega 328 microcontroller. And that being said, now let's start with this video, which is about MCU overview. So this is basically the datasheet of Atmega 328 microcontroller, and you can see that there are total 294 pages in this particular datasheet, and this datasheet is actually very simple. The reason is, when you deal with the 8-bit controller, at that time the number of pages which will be there in the datasheet of that particular controller, it's going to be very less. So there are just 300 pages, but as you are getting started, you may find that this particular count, it will be very big for you. But when you go for a 32-bit microcontroller or ARM architecture based microcontroller, in that case, there will be at least, 1700, 1800 or around 2000 pages will be there in the datasheet. And we have to take out the information, or in order to understand any of the section, we have to go to the datasheet to get that particular section. But now that in this particular datasheet, as we are dealing with 8-bit controller, so there are just 294 pages. Okay. So quickly I will walk you through the different sections which are there in this datasheet. So we will not spend much time here, because here my intention is not to discuss the things in detail, just to give you the overview and just to make you comfortable with the datasheet of controller. I am discussing this particular datasheet in this video. Okay. So the controller that we are dealing with, it's basically Atmega 328P, and it's a 8-bit controller. And the first page of the datasheet is always going to be related to the features. So whatever features which are supported by that particular controller, all those features will be mentioned in the first page of that particular datasheet. So here you can see I have highlighted some of the features, like what will be the RAM, what will be the EEPROM, what will be the size of flash memory. So all that information you are going to get in this feature list. You will also get to know what are the different peripherals which are supported by the controller. So all those peripherals will be listed on the first page, which is actually related to the features. Okay. Now let's go ahead, and again you can see here there are some more features of the controller which are mentioned here. And after that, so on the second page or on the third page, you are going to get the pin configuration. So no matter what controller's datasheet you are dealing with, the pin configuration of the controller will be there. Okay. So here you will get to know the different pins which are present in the controller. So as we are dealing with Atmega 328 controller, so there are actually two different packages, TQFP and MLF. So this is basically the pin configuration of TQFP package and MLF package. The pin configuration is actually going to be almost similar. So through this pin configuration, you get to know what are the total amount of pins in this controller, and what are the different names of those particular pins, and what are the different peripherals which are supported by the respective pins. So you can see here there are multiple pins which are supporting multiple features. So single pin can execute different features. So that's basically the pin configuration. Now if you go ahead, then you will come across this section which is pin description, and in this section you will get to know the working, or you will get to know the different functionality which are supported by different pins. Okay. So the detailed information, not detailed, but the brief information will be given related to the different pins which are present on the microcontroller. Okay. So all that information will be given in this particular section, which is pin description. And after that, the next section is related to the block diagram. So again, in every datasheet, every microcontroller's datasheet, you will find this section. And in this section, you get to know what are the different peripherals which are present inside the controller, and how exactly those peripherals are connected to the CPU which are there inside the controller. Now you can see this is basically the CPU which is there inside the controller, and to this CPU different peripherals are actually connected. So flash memory is basically one peripheral, SRAM is another peripheral. So these peripherals are directly connected to the CPU. Now again, there are some more peripherals like UART, SPI, TWI. So you will get to know about these all peripherals in a moment. So you don't need to worry about these all peripherals. Some of the names will be new to you. So you don't bother about all this name at this moment. You just go in a flow with me. So that's basically the block diagram of the controller. And on the left hand side, you can see here in this tab, you will find the different sections. Like we discussed, feature, pin configuration, overview, which is block diagram. So likewise, there are multiple sections in the controller. So in this section, you will get to know the different memories which are present in the controller and how exactly those memories are arranged inside the controller. Okay. So all that information will be given in the this memory section. And after that, you will see here there are multiple sections. These all sections are for the peripherals which are present inside the controller. And most of the time, whenever you will design the hardware or whenever you are writing the code for the controller, in that case, you will have to deal with these different sections, because these sections are nothing but the peripheral sections, and in these sections, you will get the information about the different peripherals. Like interrupt is a GPIO is actually one of the peripheral which is this one, IO. IO stands for input output ports. Then interrupt is actually a feature which is supported by controller. So the information related to the interrupt you will get to know in this particular section. Then timer peripheral is there inside the controller. Then UART peripheral is there. SPI peripheral is there. Then 2IR serial interface is there. Analog comparator is there. Analog to digital converter is there. So likewise, there are different peripherals inside the controller. And let's go to this section, which is UART. So in this section, you will see all the information related to that particular peripheral. Okay, so you can read all this information. I suggest you not to go in much detail at this moment. So, but still, if you want to get an idea about a specific peripheral, then obviously you can read all this information which is given here. But most of the time, you are going to spend your time on this section, which is register description. So when you write the code, you have to deal with these registers of the specific peripheral, as we are dealing with the UART. So you can find here the UART registers, and here they have described each and every bit. So we have to use these bits when we write the code for the controller. Okay. So likewise, for every peripheral, there will be, in case of every peripheral, you will get the information about that particular peripheral, and in the end you will get the registers which are there inside that particular peripheral or supported register for that particular peripheral. In the same way, for analog comparator, you will get the overview, and in the end you will get to know the different registers which are supported by that particular peripheral. So that's how basically the datasheet is arranged. So these were the different peripherals. Then next important section is electrical characteristics. So in this section, you get to know the different voltages, or what's basically the voltage level which is supported by the controller, with what voltage you can power the controller. So all that information you will get in this section. Okay, so you can explore this section. You will get the electrical or voltage and current related information regarding the controller in this section. Okay, for example, here you can see if you are connecting an external 16 megahertz crystal, then what's basically the maximum current that controller is going to drain in case of 16 megahertz frequency. So likewise, this kind of information you will get to know in the electrical characteristics. Like I will show you how much at what voltage the controller can operate. So again, that information you will get in this section. So maximum operating voltage, it's actually 6 volt. So this is actually absolute maximum rating, and we never follow this particular rating. So in general, you will see that the different voltages which will be supported by the controller, it's going to be given here in the DC characteristics section, and this section you have to refer. Okay, so you can explore this section. So that was the electrical characteristics section. Then the next section which is important is packaging section. So in this packaging section, you will get to know the dimension or the different packages in which the controller comes. So when you design the footprint for the controller, or when you are designing the library for a specific component, you have to reach to this particular section which is packaging information, and here you will get to know the different dimensions, or you will get all the information related to different dimensions of the controller, and from this you can actually design the footprint for the respective package. Okay, so I hope that this is clear. So the datasheet is not much complicated. There will be feature, then pin configuration, then block diagram will be there, then different information about different peripherals will be there, their registers will be there, and electrical characteristics section will be there, and then packaging related information will be there. So the datasheet is very simplified. Okay, it's just that as you are dealing with this datasheet for the first time, so you may find the things a little bit complicated, but once you will deal with multiple controllers, and when you will refer the datasheet of multiple controllers, or when you will go through the datasheet multiple times, automatically these all things will be, you will get habitual to all these things. So at this moment, it's obvious if you are facing little difficulty to understand these things, it's completely fine, because when I was getting started, even I used to find the datasheet very much complicated, but now these things are like very simple for me, and I can navigate or I can walk or I know exactly where what section is placed. Okay, so the things becomes a lot easy over the period of time. So you just have to take the pain in starting, but over the period of time the things will be a lot easy for you. Okay, alright, so that's what I wanted to tell in this video. I hope that every single thing that we discussed in this video is now clear to you, and if you still have any kind of doubt related to any part in this video, then definitely you can reach to me. I hope that you will not have any kind of question, but if you still have, then definitely I will help you with that. Okay, alright, so now I will see you in the next video, which is about Introduction to Microcontroller Part 2, Understanding Pin Map. So in this video, I will explain you the pin configuration of the Atmega 328 microcontroller in detail. Okay, so I will see you in the next video now.